I think we have to start this interview by explaining why we are in a limo, because that's not the typical setting for an interview here on GRTV. But we're here with Gala Networks Webzen to talk about Age of Wulin. Why did, why did you want to do this in a limo?
Actually, it's a couple of funny reasons that led to it. As you might know, Gala Networks, the company I'm working for, has just been acquired by Webzen in March. So just a few weeks before the show started, which in the end did not leave us much time for preparation to book a booth and all that stuff. So we had to come up with something pretty quickly. Also, we couldn't get the odd hotel room, which many companies use as a replacement for a booth. So the only option that was left was basically find a moving, rolling meeting room, and this is what we got. And in the end, it works out pretty well for us. We even got internet in here.
Well, they sometimes don't even have that on the show floor, so that's a good thing. Age of Wulin. This of course has nothing to do with Age of Wulin. You know, we would rather sit in a rickshaw or something. But it is a novel idea for an MMO. Could you just set the stage a little bit, what it's all about?
Oh, sure, yeah. Age of Wulin is an open-world MMORPG that is set in ancient China and medieval China in the late 1390s, and that brings the world of wuxia to life. Wuxia is this martial arts fantasy in which you see like exaggerated kung fu moves, very fast approaches to your opponent, very high jumps, people flying and stuff like that. And actually, Age of Wulin, brings that into an MMO setting, but also brings you a lot of RPG features that you know and love from your even single-player RPGs, like a lot of story questing that you can do. It brings you huge guilds and some big schools that can fight against each other just as factions, and it has an incredible depth of features and gameplay opportunities.
So you're talking about that a little bit, about the factions and the schools, because it's sort of replaced something that is a bit of a staple in MMOs, the class systems and so on and so forth. So can you dive into that a little bit and describe how that works?
Oh yeah, actually Age of Wulin is a classless game, so you do not define your classical warrior and mage and stuff like that. You go into the game as regular guy, so to say, and only decide about your specification, your specialities in martial arts once you join one of 8 big schools of belief or of martial arts. And these schools come partly from the real life, such as the Shaolin, for example, or from the wuxia fantasy literature, such as the Emi sect or a very evil sect called Blissful Valley. Each of these schools has a different stance. Some are good, some are neutral, some are evil, and each of these schools fight with different weapon sets. Some use bladed weapons. The Shaolin go for rather two-handed stake weapons. Some of them even use something that I personally always call earth magic. And so you define your character, learn your actual martial arts specifications once you are in these schools. And as some of them are good, others are evil, of course all these schools don't get along necessarily well.
All right, and that takes us to another thing that you mentioned, the sort of the open world aspect of the game and sort of all the stuff that comes with an MMO that's some people will engage a lot of time in, others will not care at all about. And can you tell us a little bit what kind of those diverse things and professions and stuff that people can engage in outside of the sort of the action, the story, and those things that are sort of the core of the game?
Oh yeah, you have your schools on the one hand that will ask you for a lot of involvement that you can give towards them. For example, you can sign up for patrol duties and guard the school's perimeters. On the other hand, you can sign up for some spying duties and try to sneak into the premises of the other schools and try to gather some secret information there that will make your character stronger, that will allow you to reach higher levels. You can even steal some skills from other schools, and so there's a lot of involvement around there for your character. Then you have the guilds which will come up with a lot of duties for you. Guilds can have big castles, for example, which will be pretty precious. Guild housing sites. There's only a limited amount of guild housings in this world, so guilds will try to conquer castles from each other group. And then you have your own character's life, the questing that you can take care of with the story quests, and also your character's professional life. So there are 17 different professions in the game. The standard crafting ones, such as a blacksmith, for example, or a tailor, but also very special professions like a beggar, for example, or a musician. And all these professions come also with, of course, different things that you need to learn, different ranks that you need to work yourself through. And, also in the manufacturing part, also, of course, a lot of economy that is tied to that. So the goods that you produce, there's a lot of actual business that you can make with that. You'll even be able to hire like farmers market booths in cities and sell off your stuff there, and even hire NPCs who will be haggling out better prices for you. So real big combined involvement. Whereas on the other hand, as a player, you have the chance to play every element a little separated from each other if you want to.
I thought it was fascinating. You told me a little bit previously about the beggar and the musician, because it's like, okay, so what do you add? What's the benefit of that? Of begging, you get money, sure, but what's the key to it? And that's a pretty neat thing that you're doing there.
Yeah, even the beggar has a purpose in the world. He actually delivers good chi, good karma to people who are donating money to him. So if you are a person that is breaking rules, such as laws or the rules that your schools comes with, you can visit a beggar, give him some money, and then people, for your good deals, will turn a blind eye on some of the bad things you might have done.
So the world, obviously, China. Can you tell us a little bit about what's in there, and you try to reproduce China in the game? What is that? Is that because obviously in an MMO you play a lot of the time you play a fantasy setting or a science fiction setting, and it's like very sort of captivating and sort of fantastic. But is China also one of those kind of places, or how does it work as a gaming world?
It's actually a very down-to-earth, very accurate world. So the development teams now game made sure that they reproduce the 1390s medieval China as historically correct as they can. We are traveling through an open world China. We can find many landmarks and sightseeing hotspots in that world, and everything is as it is in the real world, or was in the Middle Ages in the real world there. So architecture, the way how people are dressed, everything is like a little time travel, and on the other hand, touristic travel through the country.
So you're sort of starting your European rollout of the game. Could you tell us a little bit about, because it's available elsewhere now and you can play it elsewhere. So what's the rollout, and sort of when are you going to bring it all together into sort of so that us Europeans can jump on it?
So we're now coming very close to the launch of the closed beta. We still don't have, as of today, an official launch date for that, unfortunately, as we want to make sure that the client quality is right before we announce the date. But we should get there really soon, and once we are into closed beta, we can determine how long it'll take until we go into open beta then.
But it's pretty soon. It's not far away now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's month away now, so it should be a couple of weeks from now. Unfortunately, we don't have, and this is like the worst position I can be in now. Unfortunately, we don't have an exact date at this stage, but we're hoping to be able to announce it really, really soon.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.